our tournament eventually.
Yep.
And also, Indonesia is still one of the powerhouses of Mobile Legends, and we're going to be talking a lot more on that in a short bit.
Yeah, and right now you guys can see on the table itself, we have Pool 1, Pool 2, Pool 3, where right now Contra will be going over, so the fate will be in his hands, where you guys, I hope you guys kind of have to pray that, that he, like...
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's fine. So basically, I'm just going to run through what's going to happen. Contra will be moving in front, and then he will put his hand, as you guys can see, Pool 1, Pool 2, and then Pool 3, where Pool 1 is the current champions of each MPL. Pool 2 is the runner-ups, and Pool 3 is for the countries that do not have an MPL, but they have different ways of getting into M2. And why we separate all the pre-seasons of MPL without any losses. And during MPLI, they performed super well, where they almost made it to the finals. But either way, this is the first team that's going into Group A, Burmese Ghouls.
That's right, and Burmese Ghouls, one of the powerhouse that has been able to get such a magnificent result back in M1. We're hoping that this time around it's going to be different, that they will be the ones sitting in the grand final place. But there's still a lot more teams that will be drawn in towards each one of these lots, and Burmese Ghouls definitely is a name that has been around since the start of Mobile Legends.
If I remember correctly, I think they were even third place in M1, so they were really strong, and so far they haven't made anyone.
From the Malaysian side, Todak.
Alright, so Malaysia representative will be going up in Group B. Now we're just wondering who else will be in Group B. Right now there's only 2 more teams in Pool 1, which is Brand, ESPORTS, as well as RRQ, which is going to be in either Group C or D, which I think many people, as of right now, would want to avoid either Group C or D.
Well, there's nothing that's being rigged here for sure, but now that there's only Brand Esports as well as RQ, I'm hoping to put
Group C, the champions of Philippines, where the Philippines, their MPL, they are very accustomed to best of 5s, best of 7s. So definitely Brand Esports, I would say, has the largest amount of stamina in this group right now. And right now Group C is not looking very easy, but we already know. We already know who's gonna be up in Group D.
Exactly, and I really didn't really thought that I would be able to pull this off, and I just really want to do it for the sake of, like, you know, hoping to put RQ Hoshi in towards Indonesia. RQ Hoshi.
Yeah, RRQ has been looking very strong. However, during MPLI, they lost to Alter Ego 2-0. And right now, RRQ Hoshi, even though they're at the top of the table in their own MPL, but going up to M2, a lot of, I would say, meta changes is going to happen. So we do have to see how does this affect our Indonesian champions. And right now, Contra, I think it's official that Group C and D are looking very tough. But we have to look at pool number 2 over here. We can see again, Alter Ego from Indonesia, Omega Esports from the Philippines, Resurgence as well as EVOS SG from Singapore. Whichever group Alter Ego goes in, if Alter Ego goes in Group C, no one wants to be in Group C.
I agree with you with that, because there's no possibility that Alter Ego will be placed inside of Group D.
No.
So this is where things get.
Singapore is going up against Team Burmese Ghouls in Group A. Right now, Group A looks fairly safe. Like, it could go either way. Resurgence is very strong. They look, I would say, very consistent in their performances. So right now, Group A looks fairly balanced. It looks fairly okay.
Yeah, I definitely would say that these two sides might have actually met back in the other competitions, and in MPLI there was also a whole lot of all these sort of
MPL Philippines, where they played against Brand Esports, even though they lost, but they showed very spectacular performances in the Philippines. Even though MPLI they didn't do too well, they lost 2-0, but the same thing happened to Todak as well. So right now Group B also looks fairly okay. I'm just happy Alter Ego is not in there.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is going to be really interesting, because there actually could have been only one possible.
Yes! There's only one.
There's only one possibility that the team that
Did I just jinx it?
Well, I don't think you did jinx it, but it's just the nature of the draw. But we're still gonna be looking at how things are gonna go. So,
You know, Concha, you might not know this, right?
Yeah.
But I've been known in the Mobile Legends community where whenever I make a prediction, bad things happen. This is one of those times my prediction might have been correct.
all right. So this is where
Yep.
teams, Philippines, and the list goes on. So when this happens, so RRQ cannot meet with Alter Ego Esports based on the rules set
Yes.
by the M2 organizers out
Yep.
there that has been able to plot it out. So we are definitely bound to see that there's going to be also big chances for the nations out there that have more than one representative to be able to actually get really far into the competition. Now, if we look at it, we got 2 teams from Singapore, 2 teams from the Philippines, 2 teams from Indonesia, and also Singapore as the home nations out there. So with that being said, we'll be carrying out a little bit of the sort of the pool draw as we will continue where we left off into its pool tree. But before that, of course, we gotta do a little bit of explanation where early on we saw a little bit of the mix-up.
We'll be going into Group A, where they will be fighting against Burmese Ghouls as well as Resurgence. Over here we can see this Volt from Russia.
That's right, and they are definitely going to be the dark horses of the tournament, as we have already seen them really having a very good chance here. And now we're going to be looking at them being placed inside of Group A. Now, this group is rather interesting. There's a lot of great tactical maneuvers that will be brought out from RSG, aggression coming in from the side of Burmese Gold, and from the likes of it, the Russian team that we do have from Dusville is also one that is relatively
from the Philippines. So right now, the Group B stage is, I would say again, one of the more safer groups. However, I myself have to admit, I do not know much about impunity for this year, Contra, because I have not seen any of the games.
Well, Impunity has been a powerhouse, and they are an esports organization initially founded in Singapore as they have already
Called the Group C. I said that Group C is gonna be the group of death. I usually get predictions wrong, so I'm gonna pat myself on the back for this one. But yeah, 10-second gaming frost inside the death group, the group of death, Group C, alongside with Brand Esports, the champions of MPL Philippines, and Alter Ego, the champions of Mobile Legends Professional League International.
That's right, and now this leaves us with only one team remaining. And, well, you guys can make your guesses.
Sure.
If you guys haven't already guessed
Let
it,
me predict DreamHack.
that's right, from Brazil, it's DreamHack.
Yep, DreamHack has been looking pretty strong. However, going up against RQ as well as EVOS Singapore, with both of these teams being super aggressive in the early game, is definitely going to be very difficult for DreamHack to match against them, because their team, even if they have a more early to mid-game centric draft, they do seem to prefer playing a little bit closer to the late game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there might just be a Cinderella story run that might just happen between all of these group stages here, but oh boy, what have I done here for Group C? I mean, it really feels like this is where we really do get all the best games possible.
Yeah.
And there's just no better way to go. Like, now
to go to the playoffs, but again, like, even if you win on phase 2, it's still going to be very difficult, because you're going out in the lower brackets, and then during that stage, whenever you lose, that's it. You don't have a second chance.
yeah, and start things off between Group A versus Group C. Then you have Group B versus Group D's winners. And moving forward, of course, you got the winners of the group. But on the grand finals, as always, it will be a best of 7.
Yeah, but the thing is, we do have unique Devil, right? It has a bit of a name change over there. We have Ace D, maybe KD, Ruby DD, as well as Meow from Burmese Ghoul. And on the RG side,
well, we got KZP, Jason, Federer as gonna be your team for Group B, and do the honors.
Yep, over here we can see for Team Toda, a lot of people have been asking, and this is your lineup. Chiku, E1, Moon, X-Ray, Stu, as well as 4-Mains. So Sheila Murphy, Cassius, Boy, Nyam, Kai, as well as Udu.
That's right, and we got Obuyan, Pico, Papa, Koro, Sheena, as well as Evnia. Some of these names are veterans when it comes down to their appearance companies. We start off with RQ, Hoshi with Vin, Lemon, Albert, Sin, R7, Wiz King, as well as Psycho. So some of these names need no introduction, but we haven't really seen too much coming in from the likes of Psycho and Wiz King,